Gate 14 podcast and happy holidays. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Boys are back. Recording this on the 23rd. And let me say this. If you are listening to this podcast, give yourself a pat on the back. Because there is fuck all to talk about on this podcast. I mean, just when you thought there was nothing, we get this, like a crock of shit. The only news we really have, Avery, the only news we really have is that the Jays are quote unquote favorites for Cody Bellinger and the 1 year anniversary of the Dalton Varsho deal. That's the only news we have.
Well, we can talk about that Bellinger thing. They say they're their favorite. They say they're their favorites for him, and then we get articles from Sportsnet writers saying the Jays don't want him pretty much, which, see, I'm starting to talk myself into this year being not so fun and not having, and maybe it's all the Buffalo guys that come in and really make an impact and push this team over the edge. I feel like they're still probably pretty young for that. And there's a lot of those guys taking the next step over 162 that I probably not going to like totally hang my hat on and think it'll be the best thing ever. Right. But there's talent there. They can obviously fill up, have some wins. But I'm starting to talk myself into this offseason not being anything we thought it was going to be. And Ross is cooking up a pile of shit, not anything good.
This is, and I don't know if this is me being delusional, but what I keep alluding to and circling back to is, and I keep telling myself with the lack of transactions is, oh, there's no way they're not going to make a big transaction with the renovations. That's what I keep telling myself. And also, man, I mean, let's look back on it. 2021. This offense was pretty much the offense this team has now with like a Corey Dickerson S type of bat and stuff like, I guess maybe Marcus Simeon's a massive one, but this offense still can be good with no additions. Is it going to be fun to watch? It all depends on Vladdy and Varsho and Kirk, I guess, right? Like those guys are really the guy. Like you could pick up anyone in free agency. You can get fucking Ohtani for all it matters. But if Vladdy and Varsho and Kirk are still dog shit, it's not going to make a difference, right? Like it's not going to make at all any of a difference if your big dogs aren't being big dogs.
You're so right about that. You could have one player, but them being able to carry the team just by themselves is a tough ask for anyone in baseball. Yeah. I mean, Aaron Judge did it 2 years ago, right? And he was the best hitter on earth. But then after that, the Yankees team stunk. And it's similar in this way because you do have a bunch of players who kind of underperformed last season.
Yeah.
And if we get those players back to what they were the year before, it all goes out the window. And like not doing much and having the minor league players coming in, I think they're fine additions. The pitching staff's going to be great. Bullpen's going to be great. You have great pieces in that lineup already.
Really good pieces.
Like
Vladdy should be a really good piece.
He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
He can't be worse than Nathaniel Lowe this year, though.
I keep telling myself he'll be fine. I just don't know. But like, I talked about this with Bassett because we've been texting a pretty decent amount about just like free agency and all that type of stuff. And by the way, Bassett, like look at the jersey behind me for everyone watching on our YouTube. Bassett came through and sent me the jersey. It's still surreal to me these big league guys will sign Gate 14 forever. I still can't remember. If you would have told me that 2 years ago, I would have said you're a fucking idiot. But it's so cool even seeing Chris Bassett, a 2021, obviously he wrote on the jersey, All-Star, writing Gate 14 forever when he's signing something for me. So this will go on a wall. This is probably going to go in a jersey casket or whatever the fuck it's called. But not a casket, sorry. But yeah, he was talking about this and he made a good point. What this team has kind of been lacking, and when this team was good, is a veteran presence. I know we had Brendan Belt last year, but he was injured a decent amount. A veteran presence that has done it before. And what he talked about to me is the difference that a JD Martinez would make, the difference that a Justin Turner would make on the young guys, teach them how to be pros at an elite level, at a World Series level. I mean, JD Martinez learned from a guy like Miguel Cabrera, Avery, right? Like that's a guy that came from the Miguel Cabrera tree of hitting, and look how good he is. So JD Martinez is a very intriguing bat for me. I know a lot of people, it doesn't move the needle for a lot of people, but this is a guy that hit 33 home runs last year as an 100-year-old. Like, and this is a guy that's going to DH. And honestly, maybe this is a guy that helps Vladdy struggle, right? Like during his struggles, that helps Bo during his struggles, that helps like a Varsho during his struggles. JD Martinez done it before. He's been to World Series, one World Series. And this is a guy to me that's a very intriguing name, especially to the young guys. And he would even play a massive impact on the Buffalo Bats, man. Like he's been there before. Like this is an extra coach you're getting that's playing in the games with you that could still rake, that you could see how he prepares for it. So I'd love a JD Martinez. I really would. Even a Justin Turner.
That's such a fantastic point. I think we're not on the team. We're not in a locker room, and someone who's been there before saying, hey, this will help the team as well. And I think having that as your DH is the perfect spot for it. The guys are older, right? They're not going to be able to hold up playing in the field 140 games. So yeah, having an older guy who's going to DH who can be there to help as well. I think that's a fantastic point. That's talked me into JD Martinez more than, not that I didn't want him.
And another thing, right? Like Vladdy is a fuck around, right? Like he's a guy, we saw it last year in the wild card, doesn't go to the mound for mound visits. Do you think if JD Martinez, World Series champion, saw that shit, he'd let that shit fly? Do you think if he saw Vladdy fucking around, laughing on the bases or celebrating, breaking up a no-hitter when they're down 3, do you think JD Martinez is the type of guy that lets that fly? No. This is a guy that is like I said, a veteran presence that has played with legendary players. He's played with Mookie Betts. He's played with all these guys. He sees how those guys go about their day. If he sees something with Vladdy or he sees something with Varsho or Bo or Kirk, he's going to fucking say something. And this is a guy that wants to win. You can't measure the amount of difference that a JD Martinez makes to a young club like this that has struggled in playoffs, that has not won a playoff game.
Yeah, brother, you guys talked me into that one as well. Not that he's a bad player by any sorts. Look what he did last season. So no, I think that's a really good thing. It was very Brandon Belt-esque, but maybe Belt, the way he's wired and how they talked about him just being the goofball guy all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure he locks it in when it's time to go, but maybe very different would help as well, because they tried to stop the fuck around after the jacket and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And ended up, I wouldn't say it didn't work. He went to the playoffs, but didn't score a goddamn run. So yeah, no, I'd be interested in that. Do you think JD over Justin? I think JD over Justin Turner. I don't think that's like a hot take at all.
For sure. And another guy that Bassett, and we're going to get Bassett on in a couple of weeks. He mentioned he wanted to come on and kind of talk about this type of stuff, which is awesome. That he's kind of like, it's awesome to talk to a guy and see it from a player perspective. One guy Bassett is really looking forward to watching next year, and it fired me up, which is what made me do that tweet, is he loves Cavan Biggio. He talked about how much of a difference Cavan Biggio made in the second half. 270 hitter, 400 on base percentage, a guy that could play any defensive position. He talked about how excited he is to watch Cavan Biggio, and in his opinion, Cavan Biggio has a spot to lose in this lineup. I mean, he proved it last year. We always were joking about it, how bad he was, but as Cavan Biggio, and we talked about this, as he goes on, he gets better the more playing time he gets. And I guess we kind of took him for granted, man. He was a great hitter in the second half, a 270 average, over 400 on base, and the guys love him. Bassett can't talk enough about him. And like I said, we'll get Bassett on the podcast once he's back from the Keys. But Cavan Biggio is another type of guy that you can't justify taking him out of the lineup with how good he is.
Yeah, there's a lot. There was 3 of those pieces last year that kind of meshed for me. It was the Witt, Cavan, Espinal. One of them was left-handed, obviously, in Cavan. The other 2 were right-handed. So they just kind of meshed in together as to how they were going to play, because they seem like the same player, but they're really not. Cavan's on-base thing was always going to be the thing that carried him. He was like a second-round pick in fantasy baseball 2021, like way too high of a pick. But it was because there was some power there with great on-base percentage, and if that's why they liked him so much at that point. But again, he has the skills, and like any baseball player, the more you play, the better you're going to be. No one gets better sitting on the bench, not seeing pitching. That's like the Davis Schneider thing last year too, right? He goes rakes in Boston, like when he started. And then I think it was like a Cleveland series he got into next after like a week later. So it's just like, why do you give these guys the time off when they're going hot? They're going hot. I understand there's more people on the roster that have to get into games. You can't play everyone every game. So it is interesting. But yeah, Kevin Biggio, he was helpless kind of in the first half, it seemed like.
Yeah. But he was also playing once every 4 days, could never get in the groove.
Yeah.
He was kind of blocked by Whit Merrifield.
What position is Kevin Biggio's to lose? Do you
I think third, man. I really do. Bang! Mo Salah, fucking plus 1,000. But yeah, no.
He was plus 1,000 to score.
No, it was a parlay. But listen, a Kevin Biggio, right? Like, I think he's the third. He was so good at third, right? Like, do you have advanced stats on that, Avery? Honestly, even second base, he was a good second baseman too. I don't know if I want him in the outfield. I don't want to waste him in the outfield with how good he was defensively in the infield. He was a really good second baseman last year. I know that 100%.
Yeah, I can look here. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what position, because I obviously don't disagree with him how that's going to be. Yeah, he ended up hitting 235 last year. Oh my God, Baseball Savant doesn't want to come up, but we could look at some splits from Kevin Biggio to see like how good that second half was too. And I'll try and find some of these defensive ones as well. I needed another monitor here at some point. God damn it.
Double monitor mode?
Yeah, I need like 3 of them. Just doing this is not good enough. Yeah, and the splits don't want to work. Okay, let's look at last year's splits for Kevin Biggio. So, oh my God. He hit 298 against left-handers last year.
I'm telling you, man, he like
I didn't know pretty much no plate appearances, but he still hit 298.
I know, but I didn't know this until, and like I said, Avery, and we always talk about here, guys in the locker room know more than we do. When I have a veteran, obviously, but when I have a veteran like Chris Bassett telling me how much he loves Kevin Biggio, brother, I'm gonna eat that shit up. Like I'm gonna eat that shit up. And Kevin Biggio is going to be a massive bat next year. I know I was disrespectful to him when he was obviously hitting fucking 200.
He hit 197 in the first half, 272 in the second half.
And that was with regular reps because of the injuries, right? Like with the Bo Bichette injury and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. I love him. I love Biggio. I'm looking forward to him. So like I said, and a veteran presence like JD or Turner, like they make a massive impact on him as well. Right? I don't know.
Yeah, weighted runs created plus a 124 in the second half.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I'm gonna look at some of the defensive numbers now too, because he made that one sick play. I think it was a Bassett start maybe at third, right? Where he like tagged the runner out at third and then threw him out at first. That's the only thing I remember from Kevin Biggio playing third base, but they also stuck him in left field at the end of
so random.
What? It was the first time he ever played left was in the 9th inning of the wild card game.
Yeah, it's whatever. But I know we just talked about Biggio. I'm looking forward to him.
His arm strength is 38th percentile.
Not great. That's why I think you just leave him at second, right? I know I said third, but I think you just leave a guy like that at second, right, Dave? But another guy, and I know I'm not just like I said, we'll have Bassett on. We'll have him talk about this. But he was also really looking forward to Bowden Francis. I don't know, Avery. Maybe it's a question that I could tweet. Who are you more comfortable as a 5 next year? Alek Manoah or Bowden Francis, who had a 1-7 last year, kind of stepped up. Weird role, kind of like an opener, and then would come in after Trevor Richards when Trevor Richards was open. Just a weird role for Bowden Francis, but a 1.7 ERA last year. It's nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, who would you be more comfortable as the 5 next year? Because Bowden's stuff is electric.
Yeah.
I don't know if you look at his advanced stuff, but his stuff is electric.
No, he was really good. I think it's more a question of upside versus floor, because at this point, I think Bowden's floor is probably higher than Manoah's, because we saw when Manoah struggled and that shit sucked.
Bad.
But he was top 3 in Cy Young voting the year before, and I don't think Bowden Francis will probably ever have that, right?
Yeah.
You can be a fantastic pitcher and you will never be top 3 in Cy Young voting in your league. So comfortability wise, fuck, man. I think Bowden might just have that role again, like longer leverage out of the pen, or just kind of the long man until they can figure it out. So
but has he not earned that 5th spot? I mean, let's say he goes into spring training and just shoves. So how do you justify telling this guy you're going to be the long man?
Okay, so
listen, nothing burger pitcher.
So I think this is a role that we saw 2 years ago with Ross Stripling that Bowden Francis can be shocked if the pitching staff is as healthy. Wish them nothing but health forever. But they were so healthy last year. We didn't deal with any injuries.
That's
I
fair.
think if Bowden Francis is the Ross Stripling guy of 2 years ago, he could be very successful and work himself into a rotation spot. I don't
Okay.
think the organization is really willing to give it to him over Manoah at the start of the year if
Yeah.
Manoah's fine in spring training. But there's a spot for him on this roster, no doubt. And I think he is the Ross Stripling going into next year. And Ross Stripling was huge in 22, right?
21 or 22. Sorry, 22.
I've got my years mixed up a lot. I said Cody Bellinger wasn't bad in 2019 because I thought we were in 2022. He won MVP that year.
Yeah.
Getting my years mixed up bad, but I think that's the perfect role for him for next year, and he will work himself into the rotation at some point.
I saw this trade that Bleacher Report put out where I don't know how I feel on it. Maybe I can get your kind of feel for this. So it was with the White Sox. It was Eloy Jimenez and Dylan Cease for Ricky Tiedemann, Barrera, Horwitz, and another guy. Would you make that trade if you got that right now?
I mean, yeah, you're getting two good pieces and you're not giving up anyone on your major league roster. I'd probably do it, but I'm so high on Ricky Tiedemann, man, and I would love him to be a Toronto Blue Jay at the big league level.
Yeah.
But you're getting two solid pieces that are proven guys in the big leagues. I'd probably make that deal.
I didn't realize how good Eloy Jimenez was, Abe. I looked at his stats yesterday. I'm like, this guy had 275 with 18 nukes. This guy would be like one of the average leaders on the fucking Blue Jays. I thought he was a bum. What's his knock? Is he not good defensively?
Yeah, probably not. Didn't he?
Yeah, okay.
He tore his shoulder trying to make a jumping catch at the wall in spring training a couple years ago, I believe. I think he's
that kind of rocks. Putting it all out there.
I think I'd almost guarantee he's a brutal fielder. Yeah, let's see.
We need that.
You want that?
I tweeted this. The Toronto Blue Jays need a dog shit fielder. Just give me one outfielder that's dog shit. Just one. Just give me one.
Oh my God. His fielding numbers don't even show up there that bad.
No. I know it's just a hypothetical. I'm craving a transaction. Ross Atkins is killing me. He's killing me.
Yeah. I was above average, -2 the year before. Arm strength shit. Sprint speed's bad. But he can mash baseballs. Holy shit.
No, he's really fucking good, Dave. I looked at his stats yesterday and I was really bored.
I mean, I would just throw him. Yeah, he can't hit a splitter changeup or anything, but that doesn't matter.
He just hunts the fastball.
He
hunts the fastball and attacks it.
Brother, talk about a guy who hunts a fastball. He has a whiff percentage of 16% on fastballs and a whiff percentage of 41% on breaking balls. Motherfucker cannot hit a breaking pitch to save his life. He loves fastballs. And I love that. I got no problem with that. We watched Matt Chapman miss middle fastballs all season.
Yeah. And honestly, about the Bassett thing as well. So he listens to every pod, by the way. So Bassett, you're listening to this, one of the best guys of all time. Love you. Groomsman. But he said he was like, just Gossman's a ghost. He's like, I don't know if I can make it out. We'll see. The Gossman dream might be dead. We'll see. But we're getting big enough now where I think our listeners could really fucking push that to happen. To get Gossman on the podcast. But yeah, I mean, next year it's just next year could go two ways, Avery. And obviously this isn't a hot take. We pick up some mediocre bats and the big guys that are supposed to step up. Vladdy hits 40, hits like 280, 290. Kirk goes back to Silver Slugger. Varsho is a competent hitter. And this team is just all the way back offensively and looks good.
Yeah.
Or the Jays don't get really anyone and their offense is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, Vladdy is an 18 to 25 home run hitter and Varsho is a really good defender that is like me in the batter's box. There's not really an in-between here, Avery. There really isn't. That can make the fans happy. And I think Ross knows he has to make a fucking move, especially with the renovations. He has to. He needs
the one thing you guys talked me into at the end of last season that I thought was good was it's really probably his last chance. And you think a guy who probably knows he might be on his last legs here is going to go into an off season where he tried to get the biggest free agent of all time and he's just going to sit on his hands. I think that's stupid for us to think. I hope that's not what happens. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of splash can be made here. And do you want to talk anything about the Yamamoto signing?
Yeah, I guess we can go into that as well. But I just wanted to end it with this, the Ross Atkins discussion. I trust Ross Atkins. Okay.
I do too.
And again, Bassett said this. He said Ross Atkins has constructed a very good roster. Has the roster been able to perform? That's on them. Ross Atkins has brought us platinum glovers. He's brought us Dalton Varsho with 30-plus home runs the year before, who just turned into a potato the year after. He's brought in Kevin Gossman. He's brought in Chris Bassett. He's brought Kiermaier, Gold Glove winner. He brought in Brandon Belt. He brought he's
Robbie Ray,
Robbie
Marcus
Ray.
Semien.
I trust Ross Atkins, and if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. At the end of the day, it's the fucking players that are supposed to be good that aren't performing, like Vladdy, like Kirk, like Var, like you just got to blame those guys. You can't blame Ross. I trust him, and it's December 23rd. We still have time. The market just got set with Yamamoto. Now we'll go into that. Where are you at with that signing, Avery? That's a crazy signing.
Thank fucking God he's not a New York Yankee.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I honestly thought that was happening.
When they said they gave him the number 18 jersey and they said that he could take it.
That was the most cringe thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean they're the Yankees. Thank God they didn't get him. Now they're talking themselves into Carlos Rodon being great again, which I think he could be okay. He was a great arm, but after last season as well, he went Manoah mode. Him and
is he going to go back? Is he going to go back to White Sox Giants Rodon? I don't think so.
Well, Giants Rodon was great. Was he?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he gets back. I don't think he gets back to that. If you look at this Yankees roster, it's still not good. Yes. Maybe I'm just delusional.
No, we're good. The thing is Aaron Judge carried that team to being good 2 years ago, and he very well can do it again
with Soto.
Exactly. That's the yeah. The roster being constructed is not fucking good. It's just not. But Aaron Judge is that good of a player. Juan Soto is that good of a player to make those guys competent, and they can win games still.
And
sucks.
As well, Avery, you still got to trot out Stanton, who is dog shit. Like Giancarlo. Right?
You can just call him Mike. It's easier.
Mike Stanton is legitimate dog shit. Like, it is alarming. What do you do for the Yankees and Stanton? Like, you owe them 100-something million still, right? Like,
they can't do it. They can't do anything with them.
And they have the corpse of DJ LeMahieu still there in the lineup too. Like, their lineup is very old.
Yeah, Johnny, it's not good. It's really not a good, well-constructed team. Rizzo, it's an old team with our should have been the rightful Rookie of the Year winner when Volpe and everything else like that. I'm worried that the Yankees get carried again, but they're not going to win a World Series with the team currently constructed that way. I don't think.
I agree. We'll see. But yeah, it just it sucks, man. It's just I wish we had more transactions to talk about. And our luck, you're going to be on a flight to LA, and the Jays are going to make a trade or a signing. I just know it. Because Avery's leaving for LA on Boxing Day, just so everyone knows. And so is Curtis and Alto, dead to me. But yeah, Avery is leaving for LA, or I guess Cali, not really LA, on Boxing Day. So
I'm gone for 11 days.
Yeah. So you know the odds are high that a trade's gonna happen by the time.
Yeah, I'm bringing I knew we had a full off season of Johnny and I at our computers ready to make content based on a transaction that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be January 1st when I'm at the Rose Bowl, or I'm at the Leaf game or something when I'm in LA.
Yeah. And then I'll have to crank out a solo pod.
No. We'll get it done though. I'll be back to make
I'll do the live reaction thing though, that I did with the Ohtani stuff. That the live,
what do you think of Michael A. Taylor talk?
Oh yeah. I can go into that. I guess we're going for the greatest fielding team ever again.
But he could hit home runs, and he hit home runs last year.
But that was an outlier though, wasn't it?
Maybe that's who he is, though.
Okay.
Maybe a little launch angle.
That's actually such a good spin zone that you could say to people that have had one good year is maybe that's who he is. Yeah. Or a guy that has a bad year is oh, that's not who he is. That's the greatest spin zone you could have on a player, because you could you could really do it either way. Like you'd be like, oh, maybe that's who he is. And then you could also say, oh, this is an outlier year. Like maybe he's just not bad. Like the Bellinger stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe he was injured. It's just the greatest spin zone of all time.
Yeah, so I'd love Michael A. Taylor on this team.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect as the fourth outfielder spot, but we kind of thought that about Kevin Kiermaier last year, and then he played every game.
And he was great.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But anyways, I wanted to give a shout out because so you know that Shania Twain story of when I greened out essentially from marijuana, devil's lettuce. So the guy whose house I was at is my friend Alex's brother. And his brother and her brother, his boss is a massive Gate 14 guy and promised him he would give him a raise if we shouted him out on this podcast. So shout out to Jason. Shout out to Jason at Hometown Heating and Cooling out of Ingersoll, London. Massive Gate 14 guy. You better pony up and give our guy that raise. All right. You better give him that raise because you're a massive listener. And I was told about that. So shout out to you for that. No free ads, but when it comes for raises, we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, the Michael A. Taylor stuff, Avery, it's not going to move the needle for a lot of fans. It's not going to put asses in seats at the Rogers Center, but it's a move that still makes his team better at the end of the day, right?
Totally agree with that. They said they've been talking to him, and then someone else, and then a Sportsnet reporter came out and said they hadn't been talking to him. So I'm about done with Sportsnet reporters. They can fuck off.
They're
anytime.
white knights.
Yeah.
Like you have to ask Ben Nicholson Smith and Shai Davidi if a trade actually happened. You have to wait for them to confirm it. Like it's like North Korean news. It's only like Kim Jong-un is fucking the greatest golfer, shot 30 under. And that's what Sportsnet's telling us. But yeah, Avery, do you want to go into the company that tried to fuck us over? I don't care.
No, I'm not ready to do that.
Okay.
I think it's for another time.
Okay.
Like
yeah,
years down the road.
Okay. It's Christmas, guys. We won't fuck them over. But yeah, anyways, another
1 year,
player
1 year since the Varsho trade.
1 year since the Varsho trade. But before we get into that, I want to talk about this. Where are you at with the Jonathan India stuff? Because we haven't talked about this in the podcast. We forgot to bring it up last week.
Makes no sense at all.
Makes no sense.
He's another Espinal wit type. And I don't know why we'd give up assets for that when we have the same thing. So
do you think that's smoking mirrors to make him seem like a trade chip for other teams? Like, oh, the Jays are interested in him. They must see something in him. Another team might get interested in that. Do you think that's what that is?
I have no clue at all. It doesn't make sense to me at all. They're trying to get rid of him. Obviously, they have so many middle infield prospects that are ready to come up. He's the worst of them. The team with a ton of middle infield prospects, why are they trying to get rid of him? Because he's the worst of all the guys they have available. Why would you trade any good asset for that?
No, he stinks. Let me get that right. He fucking stinks.
I think he was a great American ballpark merchant too.
Well, he like we all know this, right? One good year, won the American League Rookie of the Year. And then kind of just fell off the face of the earth after that. Yeah. Or National League Player of the Year, sorry, or Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And kind of just fell off the face of the earth. So if Ross isn't dumb, he would never trade for that guy, right?
No.
I keep telling myself that. I don't think he will.
Yeah, I mean, if you and I wouldn't make the deal, I don't think Ross makes the deal.
If any person, and they're kind of really analytics driven, and he goes against all of that. So
he's the worst fielder on their team too. Nothing about it makes sense to me. Like, you're not trading. Having Espinal and Jonathan India on the same roster is the
Calvin
dumbest.
Biggio is way better than him. So is honestly Espinal.
Well, I was thinking more.
Way better.
I was thinking more right-handed hitters.
Yeah, honestly, I could even make the case that Espinal might be better than him. To
There's
be honest,
a chance in a world where Espinal plays better than him next year. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into the 1 year anniversary, guys. This time last year, me and Avery did an emergency pod. For those of you that are new to the podcast, an emergency podcast for the Dalton Varsho trade. And I think we spoke maybe highly of it. I love the trade. I remember Luplo telling me the year before, oh, they're never going to trade Varsho. Like, they love Varsho. He's really good. And they traded for him. But where are you at with this? I still think it's too early. And I'm not to go fucking loser boy Mike Wilner on you, but I still think it's too early to judge this trade.
Yeah, obviously. I still don't think of it as like a clear-cut loser to me. To two players who were involved. Him signing back there is like the only bad look. Would have been a classic thing,
Yeah.
a good thing for the trade if Lourdes just took off after that, right?
Yeah. That
And
would
it-
be, and also that'd be kind of funny
Yes.
if he just took off, but he didn't. And he's still there. I think both teams got what they needed in this trade. I mean, the outfield was kind of crowded on the Diamondbacks, and Dalton Varsho wasn't like, I don't know if he had a future there, but he's so fucking good defensively, Avery. Like,
Yeah.
and this is what this team needed. But his bat, oh my god, dude, I'm praying he figures it out next year, because I'll tell you, it was him and Chapman where I just couldn't watch their at bats, like, at all.
Yeah.
I couldn't even stomach seeing their at bats.
There was a lot of what seemed like swinging over stuff and just swinging through it.
Yeah.
I think the swing and miss is, as someone who watches every game, I think seeing them just swing and miss over stuff like middle of the zone is the most frustrating part about watching. Obviously, you're facing the best pitchers in the world. It's not easy. You're going to swing and miss through stuff,
For
but
sure.
yeah, maybe that's. But there was some power potential that he had the year before that kind of missed out on this year, and I think he can get back to that as well. Another offseason, he went through swing changes a bunch. So it was a guy who
He changed his swing every 2 months. It felt.
I know, and
like,
that's a sign of a guy who's lost at the time. So maybe the offseason here is good for him.
Yeah, and we're not protecting Guillermo Martinez anymore because of his lack of coming on this podcast, even though he said he would come on it. So fuck you. No more defending, I'm afraid. But yeah, we'll see with this, man. I mean, this team has a lot of maturing to do still, which is kind of crazy to say, but there was
listen to me. The maturing is gone after next year, right? Not 2 years from now when Bo and Vlad can walk. If we wait for them to mature and then they walk in free agency, it's like, what the fuck was this whole era all about?
I'll just tell you, someone out there has to make a compilation, if that's how you say it, of all the Vlad fuck around moments, like getting picked off at second in a wild card game, down 1, not going to the mound for a mound visit in the wild card game,
Him doing this December warm up thing,
him doing this, like, it's just that guy needs to grow the fuck up, not to be an old man yelling at a cloud, man. It's just like he's so frustrating because he should be so good. He had a 1-1 WAR last year. 1-1. Like, it's unfathomable how bad he was last year.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable. I can't wrap my head around it. And YJ's bodied me with a tweet. The year after his MVP year, Vlad had a 1.4 WAR. We must have been saying after that year, there's no way he can get worse. Brother, he got worse. 1.1 the following year. If he doesn't put up a fucking at least a 2 this year,
well,
I don't know.
We can't be hoping for a 2 from him. He needs to be a 4 or 5 win player.
Yeah,
like he has potential to be
nothing. 2's a nothing burger. What am I saying? Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, he's
6 wins are in his possible outcomes. It's from what we've seen the last 2. It doesn't seem possible.
Not to be a fan graph merchant, but they do have his projections for next year, or Zips projections, to hit 35 or 38 home runs.
Because he hits the ball so hard.
Oh, that's probably is that why? I
think that's all. Well, because he hits the ball hard. If he gets in the air, he's going to hit 1,000 home runs. We've seen it before.
Yeah, that's fair. But I guess we'll see, man. I don't know. It's just it's. I don't know if I could take another year of watching this guy just fumble fuck it for us all the time. I don't know if I could. He was so bad defensively, which is one thing that we were like justifying, which is when he was bad the year before, we were justifying it like, oh, he was really good defensively, won a Gold Glove. Nothing last year, we got nothing. You know, wow.
We did get nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man, just give us something to talk about. Like we could talk. I do like doing the runaround thinking about next year, but I would like to just have the team like finalized pretty much so we can do some outlook, see how things are going to go for this team. I'm still excited for the season. I don't think anyone in the division's gotten that much better except the Yankees. No
one did. I mean, the most amount of money spent is the Orioles, $13 million with Kimbrel.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. So, most of the teams stayed stagnant, I guess you could say. But Yeah. So in terms of the Gate 14 awards, we'll be filming those when Avery gets back from LA, which will be like first week of January. Um, I'll get all the awards all done and written up on a spreadsheet. I've already started a little bit, but we're gonna get those going. We already have all the players, all of our guys coming out and saying that they're gonna announce the awards for us, which is gonna be awesome. Especially for the video and stuff like
And
that.
we'll get Skylar to edit it again. She did a great job last year.
Skylar did a really good job. Skylar did a really good job last year. She's awesome. But yeah, anything other than that though, man, it just let's go into Christmas for a little bit here. What's your favorite Christmas memory from a kid? Like, was your family really like Christmassy like mine is, or
what do you mean by that?
Like were you guys like tradition based? Like everyone would be together opening up gifts in the morning, like all fired up and stuff like that? Because you have older siblings, right? So it's kind of different.
Yeah, we had an older half brother, so he lived with us half the time growing up. He would come over Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. So we'd have our traditions were not church based or movie based.
Yeah, me neither.
We would watch the Sports Center highlights of the year all the time. That was appointment television on Christmas Eve, was Sports Center highlights of the year, ping pong tournament into the Hawaii bowl game that night. That's what me and my brothers would do. My dad, my mom would always just go to bed early, but wake up, everyone was home Christmas morning. We would always do Boxing Day dinner too. So it wasn't like traditional at all, but I love Christmas, man. And my best like Christmas memories were always getting sports gear. Anything. When we were playing hockey, there was a couple things you wanted, or when I'd get a baseball glove, I'd have to wait until the baseball season to use it again. But I think all of it was just being around family is great. What about you? You said you guys big tradition family?
Obviously, just my grandparents used to come over. We wouldn't be able to open up gifts until they came over, which was at like we wake up really early, me and my brother, like 5 or 6 a.m. because we'd be fired up.
Yeah.
And they would come over, and then we'd open up the gifts because we'd obviously wait for them. I think like the best memories gifts wise is like same thing with you, like a jersey or like Leafs tickets, or even just like a Blue Jays hoodie or like something like that. Looking forward to that. I mean, even the hats. I used to collect a lot of hats. I used to always have fitted hats. But yeah, majority of the best gifts that I got when I was a kid was always really like sports stuff. Like I don't know if I really got anything like I never really got a computer. I guess this computer technically, but yeah, I don't really remember getting stuff where I was like where it wasn't sports based. I feel like that's like the easiest thing ever. And I hope when I have kids, if I ever have kids, they're the exact same way, because then it's the easiest thing to shop for. It's just sports shit.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Polar Express. I tweeted this the other day. I really like the Polar Express, and I really like the Santa Clauses. With Tim Allen.
Those are good. Yeah,
those movies rock. And I know I'm not going to do the cookie cutter base, the Home Alone. Is that an awesome movie? Sure. It just, with how much it was overplayed when we were growing up and like always on the TV, it ruined it for me. That's why I like the Polar Express. That's why I like the Santa Clauses, because there were Santa Clauses were never on TV. Never. You'd have to go out of your way to find them.
Yeah, I do. The one cookie cutter one I like is the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I find that very funny all the time. Yeah. And then Four Christmases, Vince Vaughn. Awesome.
What an actor. Vince Vaughn. Let me tell you something. Vince Vaughn could put on a fucking show, can he?
Yeah, he can.
He is that guy. Just honestly, really every movie he's in, like The Internship, The Breakup. He's such a good rom-com guy. He's such a good comedy guy too. It's wild. It's fucking really insane how good Vince Vaughn is. He's a legend. Yeah. Four Christmas is really good, obviously. But yeah, I love Christmas, man. Obviously, hopefully next time
family time's the best part.
Family time's sick for sure. And then yeah, hopefully, I mean, it'd be awesome if Ross Atkins made a trade on fucking Christmas. That'd be sick. That'd be unbelievable. But I still can't believe he made the Varsho trade on December 23rd. Yep. Like, is that not crazy to you?
Well, he took his Christmas break early this
Christmas,
year.
Pack your shit.
You think Ross has to put in his vacation hours to like HR?
Maybe. You think he's hourly or salary?
Yeah, I think he's probably salaried at this point. But in his first couple of years, he was probably hourly.
But yeah. Anyways, man, we'll end it with this. enjoy Christmas time with your family. Obviously, my grandparents aren't able to obviously come here. They're in the nursing home and stuff like that. So make sure you really, really enjoy. And I know a lot of our followers and listeners are younger based. Make sure you enjoy the time with even the grandparents, man, because you don't know how long they're going to be there for. You don't know how long, how many more Christmases you have left with them. I know that sounds dark, but it's true. You don't like embrace every single moment. Enjoy every single moment you have with your grandparents, your family, your parents. It's a good time of the year. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, just spend time with your family, man. I mean, that's just a basic generic thing to say, but yeah, enjoy it with your family. We love you guys.
Thanks for everything this year.
Yeah, we're not done yet. Year's not done yet. We'll have another podcast before New Year's and stuff like that. We can reflect on that. But enjoy the Christmas, man, and let's have ourselves a week. Hopefully, like I said, we keep saying this every podcast. Hopefully, we have a fucking podcast to do during the week because a trader is signing happening. But we'll see what happens. Love you guys. Gate 14 forever. Let's have ourselves a week.